Hey, it's the Alarm Clock Dude from alarmclockdude.com. I have the GPX model C222B here. It's got dual alarms. Each alarm has a buzzer or radio function, AM, FM. It also plays just as a standard radio. You got the source button here, AM, FM. You hold that down to turn it off. And then we got the alarm 1, which is 736 right here. You hold down that, and it's weird because the alarm 1 is on the right, alarm 2 is on the left for the buttons, but alarm 1 is on the left and alarm 2 is on the right for the actual where you're doing it. So we got those function here. We'll hold that down to reset it. We got it 7 already. We'll let that set. It'll stop blinking. And then that alarm will go off here when it goes 7:37. And then it's got buzzer, radio. I like the dual alarms because I usually set one to go off with just the clock radio for about a half an hour. Snooze button, turn it off, or if you just hit that off button, that'll turn it off permanently. The snooze button will delay it for 9 minutes. I set 2 alarms. You set the first alarm clock to go off an hour before you want to get out of bed. Let the radio play whatever station you want it on, and then I'll set the second alarm to go off for the actual buzzer when I actually have to get out of bed. And then, or if you have a spouse or roommate, anything like that, you can each set the alarm for a different time. That way, the first person getting out of bed has their own alarm. They turn that off. The other alarm is already set for the second person to go off at a later time. The alarm clock, it's got the FM radio antenna here. They probably put that on as an afterthought because the reception for this is not that great. You got battery backup here, which is 2 AA batteries. Those AA batteries on this, if the alarm goes out, or if the power goes out, sorry, the alarm will not go off unless the power comes back on. Basically, all the batteries do is save that time for you. If the power is still out when you want to get out of bed and you set your alarm to go off, then the alarm is not going to go off if you have it set to the buzzer. If you have it set to the radio, however, that radio will go off if it comes on within an hour after you had set that radio alarm to go off. So the power switch, power cord actually comes in and out on this one. If you can see that there, you can. That, I thought when I first got it, I was saying, okay, cool, that's just, it'll run on batteries alone, but it won't. You got to have that power source in there. Overall, I thought this alarm clock was kind of cheap. The buttons don't feel like they're that great a quality. This is the cheapest alarm clock with the dual alarms and the AM/FM clock radio that I have found. The buttons are kind of confusing to use. Like, you have buttons doubling for power, the source back and forth. You have the clock or the memory depending on where you're setting it. These 2 buttons are for the 2 different alarms, and also, if you can see here on the video, a volume for those 2. And then the 2 right buttons are for hours and minutes while you're setting one of the alarms or the time, but it also is tuning when you're in the radio. So I had to actually break out the instructions to use this, and I review alarm clocks, so it's not that simple to use, and the buttons feel a little cheap. If you want more alarm clock reviews, follow the links down below this video if you're watching on YouTube or if you're on the site, alarmclockdude.com.